Welcome guys to John's Football Channel. I hope all you're doing well today. This is our preview to Portugal versus Spain in the last 16. Before we jump into the preview and actually analyze the game and how it could unfold, let's actually have a look and actually comment down below what you guys after obviously we had a predictions before the World Cup actually happened. Who would be actually making it to the final, who would be going into the last 16 and whatever. But now that it's all said and done, we all know more or less all the teams that are in the last 16 going into the next rounds. Let's actually analyze and see, has anything changed? Is there different views now? Obviously, with a big shock of Netherlands and Germany getting out of the World Cup very, very early. So has anyone's predictions changed, or is there any new philosophy that might come into play now with different teams playing against each other? And obviously different weather conditions, does that play a factor? So let's actually analyze and see the games. Starting off with first, obviously, with Brazil and Norway in the last 16. Obviously, we know that Norway is a very, very dangerous team. There is some people who are predicting Norway to beat Brazil in this game. We know that the likes of Holland is a very dangerous striker. You wouldn't put your money on him not to score. There is sometimes where if a certain players that you might think, okay, no, a certain defender can hold Holland. There's some days that he has been quiet. I think that happens with most strikers. You're not going to get a 10 out of 10 performance every day in and day out. Majority of it you can, but not every day. And I think it is a thing of how turned up and how fired up will Norway be, how fired up will Holland be on this game, and how will the game unfold. Does Norway get a chance? Do they score early? Or is it a case of Brazil just very, very dominating the ball from the get-go and actually giving no chance to Brazil or to Norway to get the results against one another? So, but for me personally, I'm gonna actually go with Brazil. I think Brazil actually beat Norway. I think you can't expect probably one or two players for Norway to shine through the likes of Brazil. I mean, we know that the quality of Brazil that they currently hold, we know it's nowhere near the levels that we might think of in terms of those like the Pelés, Ronaldinho's, the R9. No, we're probably not to the level of them. I mean, there is certain positions that do need strengthening, but I do think it's a very, very very, very strong team, and I think they can do a job against Norway and go into the next round. And then obviously we look at Mexico against England. We know that is going to be a very, very interesting game, but obviously. We know that the conditions, we know that there's thunderstorms and there might be heat, a very, very hot day for both teams. And we know that Mexico is a bit more conditioned for this kind of game than England is. But I do think England have a lot of players on the bench to sub off and change if anything doesn't go their way. They're able to rectify it and actually bring new fresh legs on the field whenever they need to. And against Mexico, they should be able to do that, and I think hence why they go through, and they will probably be playing Brazil in the next round. And then Argentina against Egypt. Also that one, I think we know the likes of Salah, the likes of a couple of other good players for Egypt. But we also know Argentina is a very strong force. They've done this, they've been there before. They know what it's like being in this competition. They know the levels they need to get to in order to compete. And I think obviously for that, I think Argentina will just be too much for Egypt on the day. With Brazil, I probably see a 2-1. Mexico, I think I do see probably a 3-0. I do think England smashed them. And then Argentina against Egypt, I probably see a 2-1. I think Argentina just edge it and go into the next round. And then we see Switzerland against Colombia. Me personally, I'm going to go with Switzerland. Obviously, Switzerland are the likes of Xhaka. They have a very good team, and I think they can just sneak it. And we know Colombia also is not a team that you can just write off. They have some decent players, the likes of Rodriguez, the striker, the likes of the defense. They have a couple of players in that team that are experienced and know how to get the job done on the day, no matter how the odds are looking. I think that there's certain players that you need in your team in order to change the result away and change it in your favor. And I think those are the kind of players that you need, and that's the players that will get you over the line. And then if we look at, obviously, on the other side, obviously, currently, we know that France played Paraguay last night. France beat Paraguay with a penalty with Mbappe. So now they're obviously playing Morocco in the next round. Morocco did beat Canada quite convincingly 3-0. So France and Morocco will be playing on the 9th of July. And then we know that we're making a preview to Spain versus Portugal. So that will be an interesting game how that goes and unfolds. We'll stay tuned for after it's all said and done, and after this preview. And then we also know USA for Belgium. I think obviously we know that Poch for USA is a good manager. I think he'll be able to shape up his team in the best way possible to actually be difficult to break down, but also being able to attack and actually exploit Belgium where they lack in terms of strength. But we do know that Belgium is a strong team. We do know that they have some good players in their team, and they have been around the block. As much as USA can put up a fight, I think Belgium will just be too much for USA. And then if we had to analyze it, who would probably be the weakest teams out of the quarterfinals? If we had to think about the teams, I would actually think probably between Switzerland, Colombia, and Belgium and USA. Those four teams are currently, I think, they're the weakest teams going into the next round, and I think they're probably just fortunate that they are playing those teams and actually giving them a chance to actually compete. I think if they were playing any other team, they would probably be written off from the get-go. Comment down below what you guys' teams and what are your predictions. Do you guys see it the same way? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. And then after this, if you take a look, we do know Brazil will be making it through. So Brazil will be playing England. And then I think England definitely have a better team than Brazil. And I think hence why they dominate England and they go into the semis. And I think Argentina will definitely dominate Switzerland in the next round in the quarters to go. So we probably will be seeing England and Argentina in the semifinals. And then obviously I think I do worry. The only thing I can worry about is Tuchel. Does Tuchel have enough time to fully gel with the team and actually know exactly what he's in for with the team that he has, the caliber? I think right now at this stage he's still learning about his team, and a part of me thinks that could be England's only weakness going into this competition. I think that's the only thing that could let them down, knowing the exact quality of the players that they have around them, and Tuchel not knowing exactly how to get the best out of them. Obviously, they've been playing a couple of games now leading up to probably the semis and the quarters, but I think you can't just write it off on one season. I think you take 1 or 2, 3 seasons to actually get used to the England team that you actually have and the team that you actually know, and who's actually willing to fight it through into the next rounds, and who's actually able to step up when it's needed most for their team and for their country. So that's the only thing, but I still think England do dominate Argentina and get into the final on this side of the competition. And on this side, obviously, I would think probably France will make it into the next rounds, beating Morocco. And I do think Portugal do make it against France in the semis. And I would like to go with my team, Portugal, and actually think that Portugal do beat France yet again and make it to the final to verse England in the final. Let me know down below what you guys' thoughts, and let's get into this preview with the lineups. So obviously they're playing at Douglas Stadium, a very, very big stadium to play the last 16, a very good stadium to actually represent this big game. Ranked 5th against ranked 2. So let's see how it unfolds, and I think we're all expecting a very, very good game from both two teams. So obviously Spain having their lineup, Simmons in goal. They could have possibly David Driver, but I think they've been sticking with Simmons currently. And then obviously they will have Cucurella on the left back, Laporta and Kubarski as the centre backs, and then Pedro Porro on the right back. And then in the midfield, in front of the defense, Pedri and Rodri. And then ahead of them, they went with Alex Baena, Dani Olmo, and then Lamine Yamal or Zabali as the striker for Spain. And then if we take a look at for Portugal, they'll probably go with Costa in goal. A very, very good performance from him against Croatia. And then we'll have Gonzalo on the right back. The two centre backs will be Ruben Diaz and Renato Vega, and on the left we'll have Nuno Mendes as the left back. And then in the midfield, we'll have probably Neves and Vitinha. They've been playing well for us in the defense, protecting the back line. And then ahead of them, we'll probably have Pedro Neto, Bruno Fernandes, Rafael Leao, and Ronaldo up front. For me personally, I think that's how they'll start. But I would actually not have Ronaldo in this team go first from the start. I would actually have Ramos. We know that Ramos did do a good job coming on from the bench, not just because he scored, but I think his legs are a bit more agile, and we do need to expand the Spain team. We do need to get behind them, and I think Ramos will be the better player to do so. And I think if we need a result, we need to cement our place into the next round. I think that's when we probably bring Ronaldo on around the 60th, 70th minute to help out and contribute. If we do stick with Ronaldo, we do need Ronaldo to keep making those runs, like Mourinho mentioned. Ronaldo does look like he's not able to get there, but there's certain glimpses that Ronaldo can, and he definitely needs to make those runs to actually cause Spain or any other team problems in this competition. Making those runs, even though it was offside, he just needs to time it a bit more better and actually get and actually help us get the win over these other countries that are actually wanting to win the World Cup as well. And then we look at some form. Obviously Portugal have won 3 games out of the last 5. We've drawn the last other 2. And then with Spain, they've won 4 and drawn 1 with Cape Verde. So now, obviously, form is in both teams, but more in favor there of Spain than Portugal right now. And then we look at some stats for Spain. Obviously, Spain have beaten Austria for the first World Cup knockout win since 2010. And then obviously we know Orzabal has scored 17 goals in his last 16 games for Spain. So he's in good form. And we know he's a dangerous player. So we definitely need to keep our eye on him and actually either keep a CDM tight on him and man mark him, or we need to make sure we have one centre back that's constantly focused on him and making sure that he does not get any contribution from this game. And then we look at some for Portugal. Obviously, Portugal won the 2025 Nations League final against Spain on penalties after a 2-2 draw. So we do have some good form going into this game again with Spain. And hopefully we're able to replicate that and actually go into this competition and go into this round knowing that we can do a job against Spain. And then obviously we know that they're gonna pair the two together with Ronaldo against Orzabal. And then we look at matches played. They both played 4 goals for Ronaldo is 3. Orzabal has 4 goals in this game and then 1 assist, more than Ronaldo has. Also man of the matches. Orzabal has 2 man of the matches, where Ronaldo has only 1. So obviously Orzabal has more of a favorite in terms of the attacking force for Spain than Ronaldo has for Portugal. And then we look at the last 5 games between the two teams. Obviously, so Spain has won 1 and we have drawn 1, but end up winning it on penalties. So you can say it's more or less 50-50. There's not much of a decider in the last 5 games to actually say who would win. Let me down below. Do you guys actually think this could actually go to the next into stoppage time? Do you think it can go to penalties? Let me down below what you guys think. I think for Portugal's best bet, and I think for anyone's team. I mean, we all know that penalties can go either way, and I think for my team personally, I would actually want us to get it done in 90 minutes, knowing that there's no chance and no room for error. And the more game goes on, the more chance that a team can have to make a mistake. So let's keep it simple, let's keep it basic, and let's actually create the chances that needs to be created, and let's get the goals, and let's go home and into the next round against I believe we will be playing Belgium in the next round. That's if Belgium beat USA. So yeah, guys, let me down below what your score predictions will be. Let me know down below, who do you see going into the final? Who do you see going into the next rounds? Let me know, who do you guys see going into the next rounds? Who do you guys see going into the semis? Who do you guys see in the final? Let me know down below what you guys think. And stay tuned for the post review when it's all said and done. And peace.